this big catalyst in 2025, I think a lot of people are overlooking is this. Now that Trump is going to be president and sworn in, right? A lot of people are overlooking the fact that he said he is going to buy up 5% of the total supply of Bitcoin. And a lot of people, a lot of people are kind of like, a lot of people are trying to prepare for that. Because if that actually happens, if the US government actually just like does that, goes to Coinbase, goes to Kraken, goes to Gemini and says, hey, we're going to start buying, we're going to set a schedule, and we are going to start buying Bitcoin, like, I don't know, 50 million, 100 million every month until we buy up 5% of the total supply. That is massive. That is going to drive the price of Bitcoin way, way higher. Okay, not only from that act alone, but again, when other countries hear officially that the US is going to do that and make Bitcoin a strategic reserve, you got to figure other countries are going to start doing that too. They're going to follow, right? So I do think this is going to be a big catalyst in 2025 if Trump sticks to his word and actually does this. It's going to be absolutely massive. This will be the biggest catalyst we've ever seen in Bitcoin's history. Obviously, to have the biggest nation, the most powerful nation on the planet, to fully endorse Bitcoin and make it a strategic reserve, that would be the biggest thing ever, right? And that's why you would want to load up right now. You would want to load up before that happens, because when that does happen and gets announced, Bitcoin will be well into six figures and will start climbing really fast. Those ETFs that's been buying, tens of billions already will climb even faster. They'll be buying billions per day. It'll be tens of billions per week. It'll be hundreds of billions in the course of 2025. And then you add that on top of what the US government will be buying in the course of 2025 while trying to acquire the 5%. Keep in mind that 5% is going to make Bitcoin extremely expensive, right? 5% may not sound like a lot, but as Bitcoin's price goes higher, that 5% becomes incredibly expensive. It's just going to be absolutely massive, right? So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think that's why you're seeing all the Tether being deposited. People are front running this, basically. I guess that's my point, right? I think a lot of people, a lot of whales, a lot of institutions, a lot of companies, I don't know, a lot of fund managers, I think they're trying to front run this, because if that becomes a reality, it's going to be bigger than people probably realize. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are probably front running this. So we'll see. In the next 2 months, we'll see how things get. It could be quite nutty as Bitcoin gets higher and higher and higher. And then if we, along with that, we have a mini altcoin season and everything from Solana to even ETH. ETH has been moving yesterday. And Avalanche and Chainlink and everything starts moving up in a big way. That's going to lead us into a fantastic 2025. It's going to be absolutely fantastic next year. As for some charts, compared to last year, I mean, we're actually quite identical. Last year, you know what? If you think about it, those of you guys that lived through last year, I think almost all of you guys have lived through last year. If you think about it, March through October last year was quite boring. And we didn't really start moving last year until October. And we were below 30,000 until October. And then we started pumping. And then we didn't stop until March. We went from sub 30,000 all the way to 70, basically 74,000 in March. And we just kept on going, right? So for basically roughly 6 months, we just did not stop. So now that we're in 2024, we kind of did the same thing from March-April timeframe all the way to October. We pretty much didn't do anything. We went sideways. But now, you know, since October, we started going up. Obviously, now we're in November. We started going up more. And if you look at it compared to 2023, very, very similar. Now that we had this rally, are we going to continue on and just keep going? like last year. And if so, that'd be absolutely fantastic. That means we will breach $100,000 by the end of this year. And afterwards, we continue on, right? And continue on till wherever we go in 2025. It's looking very similar to last year. Although, you know, this should be different because this is a halving year. And 2025 is the most bullish year of this cycle. Well, at least it should be, right? According to the 4-year cycle, the last year should be the most bullish year of the 4-year cycle. So this is what it's looking like. We have broken out of this channel. You know, we had this giant cup and handle. We have broken out of the handle, obviously. We are definitely going higher. And, you know, if you look at our three previous cycles, I know this is condensed, obviously, but you know what? Every single time, we just kind of do the same thing. We break through our previous high, and we just kind of just keep going. But obviously, the dollar amount is it's exponentially higher every single cycle, right? So the obviously the percentage gains is not quite as high every cycle because the dollar amount is much higher, but the pattern is pretty much the same. We break out of that giant cup and handle, and then we break out. And the last year is when we go parabolic, and it's probably not going to be different this time around. And again, once we hit 6 figures by the end of this year, next year, again, like what I said, if the U.S. Makes Bitcoin a strategic reserve and the other countries follow, and then you have this massive FOMO between countries, and the ETFs continue to buy, and you have retail FOMO, and you have just, you know, a great economic situation all around, meaning you have capital injections all around the world now, right? You have money start flowing. I mean, it could just be just a perfect storm of goodness for crypto. It could be something that was just like we have never ever seen before, right? It could just be absolutely fantastic next year.